light. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hot, hot, hot.
So we're going to be making one of these today out of a big pack of pencils so that we can do this. I would say about 4 to 5 seconds at a time just to collect that heat. So yeah. Ooh, yeah, that is nice. Ooh, I almost left that on the burner like the last hot press test. I'm gonna bring that up to the camera. That's a real nice looking cobblestone right there. Hopefully that is in focus. Let me bring it a little closer. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of stealing a play out of the playbook of my last set of videos, stone block hot press videos, but the format's the same. You know, we're taking a foam hot press, in this case cobblestone, and putting it atop a red hot portable stove burner. Portable so that you can take it outside to avoid fumes and things. And it's pressing into a sheet of black foam board, and I use black foam board just for ease and base coating. And it allows just to press out sheets really quickly. You can press out a sheet this size in under 10 minutes. Now, this terrain craft tale would not feel right without the use of goblins. And specifically, it's a thank you to the channel How to Rule an Asteroid and her video post, Easiest Bricks You'll Ever Make terrain tutorial. In it, there's a technique to use pencils to shape foam surfaces. And I was looking around at the time, and the pencil technique was the best medium to use for this hot press approach. I was trying to make modular foam press battle mats then, but man, I couldn't believe all the cool cobblestone structures and things I was also able to make. In these images, the chapel, the cobblestone walls, windmill and bridge, they were all shaped out of this tileable hot press method. Even the shingled roofs on the chapel are a hot press approach that I hope to get an opportunity to show later. So I just like to show some of the stuff before we jump into the build, and so let's do that now.
Okay, so here we're going to make one of these bad boys today, and this is a cobblestone hot press, and it is made from a matrix of pencils, 59 pencils to be precise, and they're hot glued in a specific manner, reinforced with this jumbo craft sticks and this duct tape.
So tools needed for this project, we'll need a hot glue gun, some duct tape, and here's some wire cutters that I use to cut wood. And we'll need a knife to just pluck all the erasers out of the brackets like that. And pointed pliers, here's some wood for reinforcement. And also, just to kind of emphasize, there's a lot of heat that's going to be coming off this press. And there's no handle, so a pair of padded leather gloves it really would be helpful in this situation. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about was the type of pencil to use. This was my workhorse for the last couple of years, and it was made with these green box Dixons right here. And I couldn't find the Dixons when I tried to do this project, but I found this with Dixon on the back of it, these Ticonderogas. So I'm probably going to use those for the project. And then if you can't find either one, I just want to point out, this is just any old pencils you could throw together to test with some duct tape around it. You know, the erasers are plucked. And, you know, you hold it against the burner and you just kind of, press it against a sheet just to test to make sure just nothing freaks out or like combusts or whatever. But, I just really wanted to stress the pencil test as you're checking this out. I'm going to go with those Ticonderogas for this project. So let's move forward and pluck out these erasers. So we're going to pluck one of these out right now. And the only reason I'm showing this, everybody knows how to pull an eraser out of a pencil, I imagine, or could figure it out, is that there's 59 of these to chug through, so to speak. And so if there's just a shortcut, I've done so many of these that just a shortcut to the fastest way. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna do this right against the white here, and I usually kind of come at an angle, and I'm babying the crimps, but I come at an angle so I can get the most bit of the eraser down there, and I kind of am digging deeper into the bracket, and I just pull out as much of the material. I've gone below the level, and I dig out as much of the material as I can, and I never get the full amount. And I don't want to, the main thing I wanted to say is I don't want to get into the situation where I'm like prying, because that will always bend the crimp, or bend the metal ring, I should say, not the crimp. But so I don't want to get into this like prying situation where I'm like, just hurting that. So mostly I'm gouging, directly in, and just kind of going in a circle and slightly easing around the edge of the pencil. Now, sometimes with some of these, I hold on to that just to support the crimp, but these are so tough. These Ticonderogas, they're so well made that I really don't need to. Like, I could hold it down here and do this. I wouldn't push it, but, I do that. So as you see, I'm like working this eraser out. There's still a bunch of material in there. And like I was saying, these are just really well made. It almost seems like there's this like glue in there or something that holds them, because I really have to like spend some time getting one of these out. I wish there was a faster way with these quality ones, but it just is what it is. Eventually, I get to this point, and I actually turn around to the dull side of the knife, and I just kind of push it against the edge. Let's see if I can do this. Push it against the edge, and I just start kind of spinning the pencil around and just kind of chisel out the rest out, and there it goes. And that's gone. And so that is a bunch of junky eraser stuff, and that is, I'm trying to see if I don't know if there's lighting to catch this, but that is a cleared out eraser. One done, 58 to go. So let's go to town. Berserker.
Baby's born crying and he cannot see. like, fishes like, hummingbirds like, roosters like, kitties like, gators like, bird is like, dog is like, crickets like, fishes like, hummingbirds like, roosters like, kitties like, and it stings like a bumblebee, bumblebee. And it stings like a bumblebee, bumblebee. Bird is like, dog is like, crickets like, fishes like, hummingbirds like, roosters like, kitties like, gators like, bird is like, dog is like, crickets like, fishes like, hummingbirds like, roosters like, kitties like, and it stings like a bumblebee, bumblebee. And it stings like a bumblebee, bumblebee. Stings like a bumblebee, bumblebee.
Okay, so starting out with the diagram, looking at each pencil, about the halfway mark, about 3.5 inches or 9 millimeters, we're going to be putting 2 dabs of glue just short of the halfway mark and just short of the end there for each pencil, and building it up pencil by pencil, creating these nice triple junctions. And we're just going to be, as we go, putting those 2 dabs of glue on each pencil, building it up pencil by pencil. The first row will be 7, and then the second row will be 6, and then 7 and 6, 7 and 6, building it up. And then here we're just kind of flipping it over. And it's basically looking at our end product here on this side of the piece. We're going to have these empty spaces, and in phase 3 we're going to address that and kind of squeeze them out with those pliers and just kind of shape the faces and be able to press this whole thing out. Okay, so here we are at phase 2, and we have all the erasers plucked out, all the pencils, and there's no extra eraser material in there, while we're still making sure that the crimps are all intact, for our final product of the press. And we have our hot glue gun. We have a bunch of hot glue sticks. It's going to take some glue to put this matrix together. And we have these cutters here, these wire cutters that I use to cut wood, and we're going to do that on about 7 of these as we build the matrix. But as we build this up, I wanted to point out, and I actually have another pack of pencils. These ones have the erasers. It's just for an example. As we build these up and glue these things together throughout this build, they will have a tendency to do
kind of like this, like a twisting motion. You know, it's not too bad. I'm exaggerating here, but they tend to kind of want to do that. I don't know why. It just kind of happens. And so as you're gluing these together, you just want to kind of work against that and just try to avoid it. You know, you just do the best you can. It doesn't happen too bad. I don't know if it's visible in this, but it does it every time a little bit, but it's not too bad against the faces. So twist. And all right, yeah. Okay, so looking out for twist, I just wanted to run through another point right here, and that is, if you look at this end of the press, it's looking pretty beat up. It's looking pretty singed, burnt. You know, this duct tape right here it could be doing better. And you know, it's basically just from, you know, the heat off the burner, and we're pressing into the sheets and all that. And then, but then if you look at this side, this end, it's in pretty good shape. You know, the duct tape right here, not even, just completely normal, not even melted, nothing. And these craft sticks that are, you know, hot glued on there, they're just completely in place. And this side is just completely golden. And I just wanted to point out that I just kind of go with these presses, you know, kind of willy-nilly, and just, you know, if you know, any of the types I make, you know, if they work, you know, awesome. And, you know, sometimes they just get destroyed. This one worked, this type of, you know, style. And so I just wanted to, you know, point out that is why I ended up, you know, putting hot glue. I put hot glue just like right there and right there, roughly, on each pencil as we, you know, we assemble, you know, the whole matrix together. You know, I just put, you know, hot glue there and there, and that is why that occurs, or why, you know, it just seemed to work out that way, where there's just a lot of heat on this end, and for some reason this end is just, I don't know how this stuff works out, just is totally fine and seems to be shielded maybe by all this wood, or this whatever, you know, this material seems to be shielded from all that heat. So I just wanted to point that out, is why we're putting those, you know, glue points there and there. And then real quickly, I just wanted to say that there's going to be about 7 of these that we're going to be doing this to. And basically this, against the white paper there, we're going to be taking it. This is the, you know, the ring side of it, so to speak, and we're going to be doing this and going like that. And that just went flying, so I'm not going to go get it. But I just cut off the ring, so it's, the pencil's a little bit shorter, you know, than the rest of the press, and that way the ring is never present on this end. And I do that to about 7 of these as I build this, you know, this matrix up. I do it to about 7 in a random fashion. That, you know, perhaps if you know, if you just want some kind of spec on it, here's this. And I do that basically to create, add more variation in the size of the cobblestone. So as I'm building this up, I keep any of the shorts, you know, the short sticks, so to speak, 7 of them, I keep them away from the edge pieces, more in the center, like, you know, what I just showed, and that just helps create some variation. Okay, so that being said, let us go to putting this thing together. Okay, so we're gonna take a couple of these pencils and put them together, and we're gonna do that right now. So if you notice, here we go. Here's the ring side right there, and I'm gonna be taking some hot glue and I'm gonna be dabbing it there and dabbing it there, and putting that in with this other pencil. So here we go, just about like that. And like that. And put this pencil in. Like so. And so I'm going to be holding this down now. So it's glued together, and I'm pushing down vertically with this finger, and then I'm kind of, with this hand, I'm squeezing them together just to make sure that they set nicely. For basically, the vertical one is just to make sure that the rings at the table side end of this, the bottom end of this, make sure the rings are nice and flush and flat. And I'm going to be doing the same process, and it really doesn't matter what hand. Actually, I think I'm going to switch just to see if it's a little more visible for the camera. It doesn't really matter what hand, as long as I just keep those two points of pressure on there. One keeping the rings flat, and then the other is just to hold the pieces together as the glue dries. And I'm kind of blathering on, and that is purposely because I want the glue to set nicely for these pieces. So I'm just taking a moment for it to dry. And so that's the first two. And now, I guess one thing I want to do is I want to show. So I've made, like, this would be like the first two of the first row of 7 from the diagram. And then actually the next maneuver I'm going to do is I'm going to put the first of a row of 6 on there. I'm trying to make it visible. There we go. Maybe that helps a little. I'm going to put the first of the row of 6 on there. And it's going to create this nice, stable, kind of triple junction, so to speak. I don't know if that's the right term for this situation, but whatever. It's going to create a nice stable thing with all these hexagonal pencils clicking in together. So I'm going to do that right now. And I'm actually going to be doing that right across this first row of 6s and 7s as I build it up. I'm actually checking the glue spots just so I can line it up. I'm just going to do the easiest thing here, which is to use the other side, which doesn't have a bunch of glue in the way. I'll deal with that in a second in the next piece, and like explaining how to deal with that glue in the way. And so here we go. So now I'm kind of pressing down still and just holding, pushing down vertically still, and holding them together with this guy, with this hand right here. And just keeping it flush against the table, and just waiting for it to dry. And so, by the way, while I'm waiting for it to dry, you notice there's this thing that says like 7 rings over here. Got this broken pencil over here. Both of those are to remind me as I go through building up this matrix of pencils to make sure I snip off like 7 of the rings. Because you kind of get into this mode of just like slapping all these pencils together, and then sometimes, like I've noticed when I build this press, the second time I built it, I forgot to actually do that step of the process. So actually, let me do this one. Okay, so this one doesn't really matter which one I put it on. So I'm gonna do this, and I wanted to point out that I'm pushing. There's these beads of hot glue that would get in the way sometimes of pushing, kind of clicking the pencils together, so to speak. And so I just take the heated end of the hot glue gun and I just kind of just heat that glue up and make the space. And then once I add, more glue, it definitely will allow the pencil to kind of just, go right in there without some hardened hot glue in the way. And so I'm gonna do the same process as before. I'm gonna hold it down with this hand vertically, and this hand I'm doing the, kind of squeezing them together, and just kind of wait for that to dry. And basically at this point, I'm probably gonna just shoot across a whole row and go berserker. And there's one more step of this that would be helpful to see. For just video purposes, or if you're going to try to build this thing, and that is going to be after this first set of 2 rows of 6s and 7s, and I will do that. I think I'm pretty satisfied with this, so I'll probably go right onto berserker mode right now and just finish these 2 rows and then show the next maneuver, so to speak.
Okay, so we have made our first row of 7 pencils, and then our first row of 6 here, all stably put together one by one across. And now is a good time to stop and take a look at one other factor when building. And basically it's going to be this. It's that if I was to start with the next row right here, I'll make sure that's in focus. There we go. If I was to start with the next row of 7, kind of, oops, I'm not sure if I can do this right. I'm trying. There we go. Kind of popping out on this side. Well, then it would kind of be flimsy, basically. So I'm gonna basically, for the next row of 7, I'm gonna start here and put one there. And that way, when I, oops, when I add the next one in right here, I'm gonna have a nice, triple junction, if, again, that is the right term to use, whatever, in this situation. I'm gonna add that in after. So I'm gonna start inward and then go here, and then I'm gonna, finish the row right across, and at that point, then if I, kept adding pencils and there was one here, then it'll be no problem at that point, because there'll be one here, and then, you can keep adding them across. So I'm gonna do that right now. And so here we go. And I'm gonna pop some glue there, and go like this, like that. And it's so good. Like the more you build this press up, I'm gonna do the same technique we've been already seeing. Just kind of holding it, vertically, and pressing in. As you build this press up, this gets way easier, and it takes less time. You don't have to wait for the glue to set as long. I don't know if it's because of the mass of all the pencils, the wood or whatever, but the glue seems to dry quicker, and it just kind of pops into place more and more as the press goes together. You just got to watch out for twist. And so I think that's probably good. And then now I'm going to put that outside piece on of the row of number 7s right here, like so. Bam. And just sometimes as the glue is kind of, wet, the pencil kind of rotate into place, and you kind of jiggle it around and move it, and kind of falls into place. I just want to, oops, ooh, there we go. Make sure, is that glue? Yep, it's okay. Sometimes it will kind of pop out of place and you put it back. As long as the glue hasn't hardened yet, you're good. And incidentally, if you ever have a problem with any one of the pencils and you don't like how it sits, just pluck it out. I mean, you can literally just kind of just yank it out. It shouldn't hurt, just be careful, but you can kind of pull the last one you set in if you don't like how it looks or how it sits, or if you see too much of like that kind of twist activity going on. So that's that, and that's probably in place. And now we've got these 2 in, and that's looking pretty good. Generally speaking, that's looking good. So I'm going to keep building this across, and then building it up, and we'll punch out this whole press. We'll glue it together, this whole matrix, and take a look at a couple other factors, and we'll be good. So here we go. So that concludes the part 1 video of this cobblestone build, and hope to see you on the part 2 video where we'll quickly wrap up phase 3 and finish the press, and then go on to testing the press, a 7-minute real-world example of me using this press and testing it out. If you liked the video, please hit the like button or subscribe, and thanks for watching.